Welcome back to the Coles Express, round number 5 of the NBL1 South. Today we pay homage to the 1993 Tigers who are in attendance today. We just had the 30th year anniversary celebration. Festivities take place on the court, and great to see a lot of Tigers greats here this afternoon to see the new generation of Tigers. Your Copelands, your Giddies, your Gazers, they're all here. Mark Brackey's just turned up too. Ray Gordon is here. And they're going to be watching the next generation of Tigers take to the court. The women got it done, 67-65. Can the men emulate and go back-to-back after a big win over Northwest Tassie last Saturday night? Michael Thompson back with you. Damien Watson is with me. Damo, good afternoon to you again. Good afternoon for the first time if you've just joined us as well.
Absolutely. There's a sense of occasion here, Michael. There's no doubt about that. The Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre for both sides. Obviously, you mentioned the 30-year anniversary celebrations for the Melbourne Tigers, and they want to draw on the spirit of that side. Remember, one of the games that particular season, the Tigers came back against their arch rivals, the South East Melbourne Magic. They had a deficit of over 20 points, came back with a remarkable win. They defeated them en route to the final, where they claimed victory over the Perth Wildcats to win the title. So there's so much charisma in that lineup as well. And they were paraded around at the start of the festivities here today. And also for Mount Gambier, it's a crucial game. Of course, they're still on top of the table as the yardstick, but they had that 1 point loss to Geelong last night. They'd be smarting from that. There's no doubt about that. Obviously, with Gabe Hadley clinching the victory with 4 seconds left from the foul line, I think they'll be looking to atone for that loss.
Nick Marshall, 37-6 were his numbers last night. Again, he is the front runner, and he's probably leading the MVP from a Pioneers perspective here for the men's this season.
He's, in a way, quite a diminutive figure in regards to his size, but gee, he makes up for it on the court, doesn't he?
He does.
He was brilliant, and you mentioned the 37 points. 3 of those came late to tie the scores, and, of course, recently in the last couple of months, he signed a 3-year deal with the 36ers, so well, it's all going up for him. There's no doubt. It is
indeed. His brother Dylan was also here today as well. We'll start in on the bench, and well, we saw how tough the women toughed it out from a Tigers perspective. What do you think the men need to do the exact same thing the women did about an hour ago?
Well, I think it's just about injecting that spirit. There's no doubt about that. And I think they want to nullify some of the playmakers, the key playmakers from their opposition. I think it's really just down to basics as well. Maintaining composure if the game gets tight. But I think it's interesting how we often talk about whether milestone games or anniversary games make some sort of impact.
Yep.
I think generally it does draw that extra spirit, even though it probably in theory shouldn't. It seems to always do that.
We're about to start this one here. So Kane DeWitt, not wearing his traditional 42. He's wearing the number. Sorry, my apologies. I think trying to see who is actually staying here for. Actually, it could be Julian Passava. My apologies. So Julian Passava not wearing the number 20, wearing the number 0 instead. Up top there with Callum McDonald, and away they go. Ball in the hands of DeWitt to Marshall, who's going to be very crucial today. Over now to Passava. Passava inside, beautifully done. First points of the day go to Mount Gambier, 2-0. So we see Jack Purchase up the floor here for the Tigers. Michael Wern, who was a bit quiet last week, wants to try and atone, and not often do you see Michael weren't quiet for too long, but Jack Purchase, Damo, as I said to you before we started today, he's the kind of guy that is the X factor for the Melbourne Tigers.
26 points in their win over the Thunder last week. Jack Purchase is going to be ever so critical and pivotal to their chances today. There's no doubt about that. There's an avenue for scoring. And speaking of the devil, Jack Purchase with possession now. He's got Jahal in board in the defensive zone for the Melbourne Tigers. Drives, tries to weave his way around Shelley as he attempts to go towards the top of the key. Big chance here for Jack Purchase. Off the basket. Attempted rebound coming there for the Tigers by McDonald. Unsuccessful. And now on the floor, Nick Marshall tries to drive forward. He's confronted by a couple of Tigers. Goes outbound. Well done there from Passava. But the defensive rebound is going to be claimed here for the Tigers, and Van Rygen can bring it forward. I think we have a number change.
We do indeed. Chris Seeley is the extra number that actually wasn't part of the original lineup that we got to. So Seeley's wearing the number 0 this afternoon here for Mount Gambier. As Mason Gaze goes easily down there for 3.
How poetic is that in the 30-year celebrations?
Father on the sideline.
Grandfather
coaching.
on the sideline.
Yep, grandfather on the sideline. Father coaching. Son dominating from outside, Damo. It's a Gaze trio, isn't it, today?
It's a family affair. Mason Gaze with possession now. Trying to combine with the 1-2. McDonald back to Gaze. On the 45, out wide to the right corner. Jack Purchase. Back to Gaze at the top of the key. Purchase for 3. Unsuccessful. Defensive rebound claimed by Kane DeWitt, the Mount Gambier skipper, who's going to lead by example today.
Here's DeWitt now for Mount Gambier. Up for Sealy. Sealy misses that. Ball goes the way of Melbourne.
Awkward spot underneath the basket there. I think he'd have to be a contortionist even if he did claim possession to try and get that one in.
Chris Sealy from Fresno, California in America. Not doing too badly. Here's Chahal here for his first real look at it. Over to Wern. Wern to Gaze at the 45. McDonald, Purchase on the opposite 45 here for Melbourne. Chahal, who's been dominant so far this season for Melbourne, misses on that one. And away goes DeWitt here for the Pioneers.
Big chance for 3 from Marshall of the Nick variety. Unsuccessful. Bounce pass was successful off the basket. Oh, it was in slow motion there effectively from Pasava. As a result, the Tigers can drive forward here. Oh, that was just too easy. Too easy for Jack Purchase, who sinks it in for 2.
Jack Purchase up to 4 points for the game. Good start here for the Tigers, mirroring what the women did earlier this afternoon. Ball in the hands of Shelley. Sealy. DeWitt from outside for 3 here for Kane DeWitt. He misses. Good work on the rebounding there from Jack Purchase, and he punts it off now to Chahal. Chahal in the hands of Purchase. Long range 3 here for Jack Purchase. Not enough Purchase on that one. No pun intended there, Damo.
Indeed, and I think it's fair to say as Gaze with a nice intercept, changes tact. Wern was just going to say the long-range success rate not as successful today for the Tigers, but Gaze belies that with a masterful 3 to the plaudits of the crowd.
Back-to-back dribbles now for Mason Gaze to start things off. Chance here for the Pioneers. Oh, easy backdoor layup shot there from Austin Shelley.
Wern down the line to Gaze. He's been influential for another 3. This time off the basket, defensive rebound from Kane DeWitt. Fast break down the floor for the Pioneers. Top of the 45, Sealy. Looks inboard, Marshall of the Nick variety. Persistence off the basket, didn't quite sink it in. Mason Gaze with a defensive rebound. Chahal can work it down the floor. To his right, Jack Purchase on the 45. 10-4 in favour of the Tigers early. Chahal receiving from McDonald. Purchase inboard. It's initially at the elbow, but instead opts to go for 2. Great play from Purchase. He adds to his tally.
Melbourne 12, Mount Gambier 4.
6 points to Purchase so far.
Absolutely. Sealy in the hands now. Shelley. Shelley's going to try and go for a short shot off. Missed here. Well done by Purchase. Another rebound for him. Chahal for long range 3. Todd strikes hot. Good start here for the Tigers. 15-4 with 5 minutes left.
They have blitzed them at the moment. How long could this euphoria go on for? That's the question. Sealy. Well, tended to go for the bounce pass originally, but found back. Now a chance for the Pioneers through the agency of DeWitt. From the 3-point line, Pasava. Defensive rebound claimed for the Tigers by McDonald, and away they go on the fast break. Gaze, Chahal for 3. Yes! Back-to-back 3s for Taj Chahal. He's on fire. The Melbourne Tigers are on fire. As the first time out is called, and all of a sudden some worries for the Pioneers. Uncharacteristic at this stage of the season.
Slow start here for the Pioneers, and Melbourne, similar to what we saw in the women's game, I think because of how big the celebration and how big the occasion is from a Tigers perspective, celebrating 30 years since the first NBL championship, they want to make a very good impression in front of the legends, and they're doing so far in the first 5 and a bit minutes of this game.
Yeah, that's right. Look, they've had a plentiful amount of opportunities at Melbourne Tigers. I think they've improved just in the last couple of minutes there, their strike rate from beyond the 3-point line. There were a couple of misses from Purchase where he had unimpeded room. But just with those last few moments from Chahal with back-to-back threes and Mason Gaze, that's improved their efficiency from long range.
And plus, Gaze is flying high after dominating for the Big V squad last night against the Ballarat Miners 2. Tigers won that one 95-81. 28-10 was his numbers in the Big V last night for Melbourne to Mason Gaze. So not necessarily, he's not having as much rest. He's basically almost on the same wavelength as the Pioneers who played last night against the Geelong United. So Mason Gaze played last night for Big V, and he's really backed it up well this afternoon, Damo.
Well, I wonder if the emotive element of the family being here does play a bit of a part. Obviously, Lindsay Gay's in attendance today. Andrew, his coach, of course, and father.
It's good to see Lindsay out in full flight. He definitely didn't want to miss this occasion, that's for sure.
Loves the Melbourne Tigers, the name and the brand.
Yeah.
So, Mac underway. Kane DeWitt, the skipper for the Pioneers, at the top of the key. He's got a couple of options inboard, but it's next to go to his left. Sealy, now a chance for Nick Marshall. Goes for two and finds it, drawing the contact. And there'll be a couple of shots from the foul line. So the Pioneers a chance to regain composure here. And we speak of Nick Marshall's impact. 37 points last night and 6 rebounds in their loss to Geelong, which of course was by 1 solitary point, matching his number.
And Nick Marshall, looking at his numbers over the course of the season so far, averaging 25.14 points per game, Damo too. So that's really good from someone like Nick Marshall, who absolutely lit it up in the grand final last year for the Pioneers in that first quarter before fading out quite completely. But again, Marshall, as we mentioned pre-game, signed a new 3-year deal to the LA 36ers. The 36ers saw a lot in him during the season of NBL 23. Played some pivotal minutes too in NBL 23 for the 36ers, so he really earned that extra 3-year deal, and he makes it a 3-point play here, Damo.
That's it, with just the one shot, as the referee made the call late. So, Chahal try and regain some momentum for the Tigers. Oh, Mason goes! Bang, bang, bang! That brought the crowd to life. Sinks it in with a dunk for 2.
Here's Sealy. Basava straight to DeWitt here for the Pioneers. Kicks it back off to Sealy. Sealy from outside for the Pioneers. Can he drain it? He can't. Gaze did really well in the end. Blocked off Marshall. Gaze away here for Melbourne. He's hot at the moment. He's feeling it. Going through all by himself. Mason is on fire in the first.
Oh, this is unbelievable. Up to double-figure points already, Mason Gaze. What can the Pioneers do to stem the flow here? Mayfield was very good last night as well. Here's a chance now for Nick Marshall. Drives and sinks it in for 2 to provide some respite for the Pioneers. They needed that one.
They did indeed. Here's Wern up the floor. As I said, Michael Wern generally doesn't go back-to-back with quiet games, so he's going to try and have a big game this afternoon. Can he start it off here for 3? He can! Oh. Michael Wern puts the arm up and says, how about that?
Well, just full of beans at the moment, the Melbourne Tigers. Mayfield, Marshall for 3. Off the basket, defensive rebound from Wern. He's full of confidence at the moment. Traverses through traffic. Pirouettes out of trouble. Inside the key, out wide. Jahal's had a multitude of 3 so far. Can't sink it in, it was close. But the defensive rebound comes from Sealy.
Imagine if that 3 dropped there for Chahal, Damo.
Oh, the roof would have gone off.
Rolls in the end, so Sealy will go for the 3-point play. The 2 points will count. But again, lightning start here from the Melbourne Tigers, 25-11. And really making the Pioneers work hard here, Damo.
That's right. They're struggling to protrude through. It's probably been one of those matches so far where it's been very much on the attack. But the Tigers have created more opportunities for themselves, and I think it's just the confidence factor coming into play. Let's see if they can sustain it.
Here's Chris Sealy. Been a good import so far this season for the Pioneers. Completes a 3-point play. Cossack will be able to inbound the ball. Does so. Finds Chahal. Chahal up the floor. Siminkevicius to purchase at the 45. Back to Koshak. Siminkevicius. Straight to Gaze. Gaze. Long range 3. Sinks it! Gaze up to 13.
What a start. Unlucky for some, lucky for others. The number 13. Shelley, inboard for 3, top of the key from Mayfield. And all of a sudden some respite with a 3 for the Pioneers. Chahal looks towards Siminkevicius. Gaze, back to Chahal. Ran past the elbow, went for 2, mid-range, unsuccessful. Defensive rebound eventually comes to Nick Marshall. Down the floor he goes to the top of the key. Looks to his left. Big chance here for Mayfield. Unsuccessful defensive rebound coming from Siminkevicius.
Siminkevicius did well there. Gaze. Long range 3 hit for Gaze. Can't drain it. Koshak did really well to try and keep it in. But it's going to be a Mount Gambier ball. Will Mayfield, by the way, former Canberra gunner. Absolutely dominated in the NBL1 National Championships last year for the Gunners too. From memory, I think they won 2 games in that round robin. try and find out who the best NBL1 side is of the men's. As Gaze is going to take a spell.
Deserves a spell, doesn't he? He's been working hard.
And Felix von Hoff is on for his first minutes, Damo.
Yes.
The Bachelor himself.
Well, he's certainly winning hearts off the court. Can he win hearts on the court here?
Love it.
Chance now for Nick Marshall. Needs to lift to his left. Mayfield off the basket. Tempted rebound. Eventually falls back to brother Dylan. Combines well with Nick. Can't quite. Sealy for three. They need it. Off the basket. Defensive rebound from Simon Kavicius. Looks inboard. Bounce pass. Eventually ends up with Purchase. Simon Kavicius can't quite keep it in the perimeter. And it's a repel here for Mount Gambier at Sealy. Bounce pass to his teammate in Shelley. Back to Sealy. Protrudes through to the top of the key. Looks to his left. Chance now for Marshall of the Dylan variety. He falls to the floor. Felix von Hoff looking a little bit flabbergasted. And the contact was drawn. Foul called. So it'll be a ball in the possession of Nick Marshall from the base, from the sideline effectively. Simon Kavicius on his hammer.
So here's Nick Marshall to Shelley. Back to Marshall. Marshall with the 45. Has to contend here. Can he get through? He can't. Sealy can't get through either. And good pressure there from the Tigers. Really good pressure.
Their defence has really stood up in the last 5 minutes.
Here's Chahal. Simon Kavicius. Straight to Purchase. Ball back in the hands of Simon Kavicius. Bounce pass is good for Purchase. Purchase. Going to try and eye off Mayfield. Can he get it in? He can't. Koshak did really well to try and get possession. Couldn't do so. And away goes Marshall to Sealy. Sealy inside. It goes in. And Sealy might go to, and might complete the three-point play here.
And from the foul line, Jack Purchase attempting the fadeaway shot for two from mid-range. Couldn't quite capitalise. And the Pioneers bring it to the other end of the court. He's been prominent enough, Chris Sealy, so far. Certainly starting off the game to inject some energy into this Pioneers lineup. Completes the three-point play with one to finish there. Chahal down the line to Von Hoff on the 45. Looks inbound. What can the Tigers muster here? Chahal back to Purchase. Von Hoff for three. Off the basket. Defensive rebound was very good from Dylan Marshall. Provides some exerting speed, but he loses it. Was a bit over exuberant. Chahal on the fast break can make him pay. Out wide, Von Hoff. Now a chance for Simon Kavicius. Von Hoff back to the top of the 45. Purchase just trying to regain composure now. Purchase with 6 points to his name thus far. Top of the 45. Sizes up the options. Out wide, Von Hoff for three. Unsuccessful as the shot clock countdown was on. 28-18 in favour of the Tigers. It's been a spell to remember so far. Can they keep it going? Von Hoff, 0.4 of a second remaining. Purchase for three on the buzzer. Unsuccessful. But I tell you what, it's been a fruitful start for the Melbourne Tigers in this one to mark the 30-year anniversary of the 1993 title-winning side. They've been drawing on their spirit, and they lead 28-18 over the top of the table, Mount Gambier Pioneers.
Loving what the Tigers did in that early part there, Damo. Mason Gaze, Taj Shahal working from the front, did really well. Jack Purchase as well. This is a team that is coming out in drips and drabs, and they have stunned Mount Gambier. We were not expecting the Tigers to go on a flurry like they did in that first quarter, but the way they were able to really manhandle Mount Gambier in the early going to that one.
Not literally, of course, but figuratively.
No, figuratively, of course. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. That's what you need to do against a team that is seen in that top two right now.
Mason Gaze, have you seen him play better than that?
In that first quarter, no. I think for Gaze in particular, he's worked really hard to get to this point. Like, I remember seeing him for the first time 3 years ago when I started calling Tigers games. He was still working on his shooting game. That improved into 2022, and again, that's improved vastly into 2023. And for him to really continue what he left off last night for the Big V club, it is to be absolutely commended.
No doubt about that. I think he is drawing on the family spirit today. And Lindsay was beaming with a Cheshire cat grin on the sideline, wasn't he, with the performance of Mason Gay. So let's have a look at the key statistics thus far. Spoke about the points accumulated. Mason Gay's 13 points to his name for the Melbourne Tigers. He has been instrumental, particularly from beyond the three-point line.
6 of 13 from outside from the Tigers in that first quarter, Damo.
Yeah, I mean, they had their opportunities. As I said, they were probably a little bit wayward early, and then they started to rectify that as the quarter went on. And for the Mount Gambier side, 6 points to Chris Seeley. Nick Marshall's had 5 to his name, so they've shared it around, but just not enough opportunities. And the Melbourne Tigers' defence really lifted, I think, in the last 5 minutes of that period. That
was just high intensity from them defensively. It's really worked, and it's paid dividends so far in this game. So second quarter about to start very, very shortly. Jack Purchase to inbound here for Melbourne. And then can they continue the great start they had in that first quarter?
There's no easy avenues for Mount Gambier so far where it comes to scoring.
No, it hasn't. We saw in the women's game too, they were struggling in that first quarter too when the women spooked them a bit. Here's Simikovic straight to Wern. Wern into the hands of Von Hoff. Over to Bo Koshak now for the Tigers. Wern, Purchase. Going to drive. And it's going to stay with Melbourne. So the foul is called on number 8 here, which is Will Mayfield. So Mayfield, it's his first foul of the afternoon for Will Mayfield, the former Canberra gunner. Moved over to the Pioneers during the off-season this year. Wern, Purchase from the 45 for 3. He misses. Mopped up beautifully there by Dylan Marshall. Hands it to brother Nick, and away go Mount Gambier.
Mayfield probably needs to improve on his strike rate. 1 from 3 from both inside and outside the three-point line. Has an opportunity with a bounce pass to Seeley, and 6 and in with a dunk. That could be the fire starter for the Pioneers. Von Hoff combines with Wern. Out wide, Simikovic on the 45, Purchase. Got Von Hoff inboard. Uses him. 1-2 back to Simikovic. And Purchase. Now Wern. Drive from the elbow. Out wide to the right corner. Von Hoff for 3. Unsuccessful. Oh, I tell you what. Bo Koshak with cat-like skills. The putback for 2.
That was beautiful there from Koshak. Margin now at 10. Here's Nick Marshall. Marshall with the 45. Has got Simikovic on his tail. Marshall draws his foul. He had to work hard though, Damo, for that, didn't he?
Well, that's been the tale of the tape so far. There's been no unimpeded runs to score for the Mount Gambier Pioneers. They've just been confronted with the weight of numbers from the Tigers' defence. And that's been replicated on the scoreboard as well. But you get the sense the Pioneers, if they can settle things down, settle the tempo down in this game, they can wrest control back.
And that foul was on Jack Purchase. So that's Purchase's first personal foul of the afternoon. Here's Nick Marshall from the line for 2. Misses on the first. And misses on the second. So Nick Marshall missing 2 free throws. Not generally something you don't see.
Uncharacteristic. Nick Marshall with 37 points and 6 rebounds last night in their 1-point loss against Geelong. Von Hoff under the basket. Wern, look away pass. Simikovic for 3. Says thank you very much. And that rests the momentum back for the Tigers.
Ball in the hands now of Mayfield. Can he improve here? That's beautiful from Will Mayfield.
That's better from him.
You wanted him to lift a little bit, Damo, and I think he's answered your call there.
Well, I think he's accumulating a lot of the ball. It's just his efficiency from both inside and outside the three-point line was left wanting in the first period, but he's improved there. That was good endeavour. You can't question his endeavour.
So Will Mayfield averaging 15.4 3-points per game, gets a 3-point play. 16 and 10 were his numbers last night in that loss to Geelong. And he cuts the margin back to 10 points in favour of Melbourne. Purchase. Gaze.
Back on the court.
To Wern. Long range here for Wern. He misses. Mopped up beautifully there by Dylan Marshall. Marshall away here for Mount Gambier. Hands it to brother Nick. Nick drives. Hands it back over to Dylan. So the Marshalls combining together. Nick Marshall from the 45. And that's what Nick can do. No.
Push.
I think the points... So the basket, don't think the basket, I think they're going to double check to make sure the basket counts, but timeout called on the floor. But what do you think, Damo? I didn't really see too much contact in that. I thought it was actually a clean.
Not to the naked eye. The referees are conferring at the moment. Andrew Gaze was a bit incredulous on the sideline. But it'll be interesting.
Oh, the points have counted.
They have counted.
Yeah, points have counted in the end. So it's a 7-point lead in favour of Melbourne.
So just whittling the deficit back a little bit now, the Pioneers. You get the sense maybe the pendulum swinging a little bit. Certainly the Tigers aren't as dominant. It's probably more even across the board on the floor so far in this second. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the Marshall brothers are really sort of now combining together, both Dylan and Nick, and you can see how well they play together. Yeah, that's right. And I think that's an inherent thing, isn't it? When you're brothers, you play in the backyard, you play in the front court, and playing all through the junior ranks as well. You all of a sudden develop an innate relationship where you almost know where your brother's going to go on the court, how they move, just their little intricacies and idiosyncrasies out there on the court. Do you think Will Mayfield's also stepped up a little bit in the last minute or so? Yeah, just in the last couple of minutes. Look, I don't have any problem with his endeavour so far in the game. He's working hard. He's certainly just like converting on the scoreboard, accumulating. It's just about that conversion rate. That's right. So margin at 7, 33-26. Both sides back on. He was at 33% from 6 shots in the first quarter, so he's improved on that. Ball inbound here through Purchase. Purchase to Wern. 7:45 left in the second. Wern up the floor. Has to deal with Shelley. Bounce pass is good for Gaze. Simikavicius. Straight into Vonhoff. Back to Simikavicius. Wern. Top of the key here for Michael Wern. Might hand it back to Vonhoff. Does so. Vonhoff from outside. He misses. Simikavicius tried to go with the alley-oop. Missed on the first one. Jack Purchase said, that's all right. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, is what Meatloaf used to say. That's exactly right. And that was too easy. Unimpeded shots at the basket there with the alley-oop. So, chance for Sealy. Looks inboard. Marshall. Sealy. This is Marshall of the Dillon variety. For 2. Can't quite. In fact, it was beyond the 3-point line just. And the defensive rebound coming from Purchase here. Tries to drive, as is his custom. Back to Wern. Mid-range. Drives towards the foul line. Now underneath the basket for 2. And he gives the plaudits to himself and the crowd. Well done from Wern. Just working hard, covering a lot of territory, and a chance for a 3-point play here. And Michael Wern hustled really hard there, Damo, which is really good to see. Yeah, and look, just that work rate, covering the floor in quick fashion, swift fashion. He has that stamina as well. That's one of his attributes. He's got a chance to extend the lead. So all of a sudden, pendulum swinging back in favour of the Tigers momentum-wise here. And Melbourne going with the starting 5 as well out there too, with McDonald back on the floor for the Tigers too, Damo. As Wern converts a 3-point play. My apologies, go on. It's all good. I think we were both enthusiastic. As are the Melbourne Tigers at the moment. Shelley, back to Sealy. Quick pass, Pasava. Now Shelley drives underneath the basket. Errant, little attempt there. McDonald, Wern, too easy. Just couldn't convert. He did all the hard work, and he couldn't convert in the basket. Now on the counter-attack, this could rub salt into the wound from Pasava. Off the rim. Defensive rebound from McDonald. Good hustle. On the floor, gives it back, and now some respite here for Chahal. I think Wern would want that possession back and want to do much better in that situation. Purchase, inside for McDonald. McDonald gets the easy buckets. And the salute as well with the one finger. 14 points the margin now in favour of Melbourne, 40-26. Ball in the hands of Pasava. Hands it off now to Sealy. Sealy, shot from the foul line here for the Pioneers. He misses. Good rebounding there from Gaze. Wern's away. Michael Wern from long range to 45, misses on that one. Tried to get his own O-board, tried to keep it in 2, and couldn't do so in the end there, Damo, and ball goes out of bounds. I think the Pioneers just need to apply a little bit more pressure on the court for players such as Wern to canter in like that. It's a little bit too easy. Ball in the hands now of the Pioneers through Julian Pasava. In the hands now, Nick Marshall. Marshall. Step back, step forward, step back. Can he get the 3 to go down? He can't. Good work there for McDonald, who has really been good on the rebounds this season for the Tigers. He's coming over from the Waverley Falcons. Chahal, Purchase, Gaze, long range 3 here for Mason. Can't continue the good work he did in that first quarter. He misses, and away go to Pioneers. Shelley confronted by a brick wall in Wern with a wry smile, and he's having a bit of a lip with the Mount Gambier bench, which is interesting. But the contact was drawn and a foul on Wern.
Bit of banter, you gotta love it, Damo.
Yes, don't mind that necessarily. So that's his first personal foul, Wern. The recipient, beneficiary, will be Nick Marshall. Combines with Shelley. From the 45, Nick Marshall looks inboard. I'll tell you what, Seeley's been efficient underneath the basket. Unsuccessful this time. Probably should have nailed that one. And as a consequence, defensive rebound taken by Jack Purchase. Hands it out wide to Gaze on the 45. With the crowd and his family behind him. Combining with McDonald. Purchase back to Gaze. Did all the hard work, couldn't convert. Defensive rebound taken by DeWitt, the Mount Gambier skipper.
DeWitt, Seeley, long range three here for Seeley. He misses. O-board's good here for the Pioneers, and they regather here through Nick Marshall. Marshall drives in for Seeley. Seeley gets it in finally.
Well, he was efficient in the first period amongst all the Mount Gambier attackers or the offensive players, but just in the last 5 minutes needed to atone and did.
Purchase, McDonald, inside for Gaze. Can Gaze amend himself? He can. He atones for the missed shots that he's put up so far in the second quarter, and Mason Gaze can make this a three-point play for Melbourne.
Lovely layup there from Mason Gaze. He was very critical, just found a path through. Again, just a lack of defensive pressure from the Pioneers as the timeout is called. They've just got to make sure that there are not too many unimpeded runs, which the Tigers have enjoyed in spades so far in this game.
And plus, for Mason, gives himself like a bit more confidence now. He was flying high after last night's win.
And early today.
And earlier today as well. He's flying high after that 13-point first quarter. Didn't see much of the ball in that second quarter, but then now that layup shot, hopefully that just gives a bit more confidence now to again go on that scoring run like he did in that first quarter, Damo.
Yes, indeed. As the Tiger mascot pumps up the crowd. Decent turnout here at the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre.
It's a nice little court, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of boutique in a way, isn't it? We love it. Just a cacophony of noise is drawn in. Great to see some of the past players celebrating the 30-year anniversary. The Melbourne Tigers drawing on that spirit as well. They haven't had to come from behind so far because they've been setting the pace. 42-28 in their favour. 4 minutes remaining in the half. I wonder what's going to be said in this timeout. I think ultimately, we look at this Mount Gambier lineup and Richard Hill would be imploring his players to just apply pressure, not to be too over-exuberant, but you've got to apply a little bit of pressure to ensure that there's not too many easy runs for the Tigers.
And the one thing, too, that Melbourne have done really well in this game so far is that they've restricted Nick Marshall to only 5 points.
That's right.
In 15 and a bit minutes of game time here.
And, of course, had 37 points to his name and 6 rebounds last night. Goes to try and complete the three-point play here. He has 15 to his name thus far. And 6 it in. So now, on the counter-attack, what can the Pioneers muster? They need some spark. Shelley, Seeley, top of the key. A chance now for Pasava. Now driving inboard Shelley. Seeley completes the good work, and he's been efficient in the last few minutes. Adds another 2 to his tally.
Cuts it back now to 13 points, 43-30. Here's Chahal Heath now for the Tigers. Wern at the 45 for Melbourne. Wern being out-muscled there by DeWitt. Gaze puts it up. Hopefully it sticks. It does. Just so the momentum of that layup is going to get him a spark up again, and it has.
Up to 18 points now, Mason Gaze. The Pioneers again trying to play catch-up. And travel call from the referee against the Pioneers. Really uncharacteristic at the moment. Pasava was in possession trying to drive. And the travel is called, so Purchase will be the beneficiary. And now Chahal can provide a bit of a counter-attack here. Purchase receiving from Wern on the 45. Now top of the key, McDonald. Thought about going to Wern, but decided to go himself. Unsuccessful. But the contact was drawn. And the foul called, so an opportunity for the Tigers to increase their lead. They're up by 15 points at the present time with just over 3 minutes remaining in the half. And it'll be Callum McDonald from the foul line.
So McDonald, formerly of Waverley, 9 and 11 were his numbers last week in the win against the Thunder.
Yep.
Generally likes to go on a double-double most games. He's close to it too. He's averaging 9.14 points per game, 9.57 rebounds per game. So he's almost on a double-double per game, Damo. Can't complete the second, though, which is a shame because he did all the hard work. Here's the Pioneers now. Chance here for the Wits. Hands it off now to Sealy. And Sealy's been on a tear the last few minutes for the Pioneers, Damo.
No doubt about that. That's 6 points for the quarter thus far, so chance for the Tigers to repel. Purchase, top of the 45, McDonald. Now Wern. And also Chahal back to Gaze. Looking for three with the fadeaway. Unsuccessful. Defensive rebound claimed by Nick Marshall. Drives against four Tigers. Well, fortuitously, it ended up there with Basava, and he takes advantage. Well, that was probably good fortune more than anything else. It ricocheted out to him. Wern has it now off to Gaze.
Here's Gaze. Gaze at the 45. Purchase. Back to Wern. Wern hands it off to Purchase. Purchase going to go long range three here. Can he get it to go down? He can't. Ball in the hands of the Wit. So momentum now in the hands of the Pioneers. The Wit. Marshall. Nick's going to go long range three. He can't drain it. McDonald, another rebound for his name. He's on double-double watch this afternoon. Is Callum McDonald. Only got the 3 points thus far, but he's probably got twice as more rebounds. We'll check those stats later. Here's Chahal. Chahal shot from the elbow. Is it good? It is.
Oh. Well,
March at 13.
He really set the tempo, didn't he, Chahal, early on in the game, and really provided that spark. Speaking of sparks, Sealy's provided that so far for the Pioneers. Draws the contact and a foul. So get an opportunity from the line here. Well, just having a look at his numbers thus far, 14 points. He has really almost played a lone hand, an unexpected lone hand for the Pioneers so far. Yeah,
14 points to his name. Will Mayfield's been good with 9 points, but again, you look at Nick Marshall, who they normally rely on heavily to shoot and score. He's only got the 5 points, and he's struggling from a lot of the spots that he normally drains the ball from, though, Damo.
That's right. Ball back, having his first run on the floor. Purchase back on the bench. So a chance for Sealy to add to his tally from the line. Sinks it in.
Ball back former Keilor Thunder, by the way. Played limited minutes last year for Keilor. I think he played 2 or 3 games for the Thunder last season. This is his 3rd game for the Tigers at home this season.
See if he can make an impact on the court. In the meantime, Sealy to make it 2 from 2 and 16 for the game. He's successful. He is providing a real focal point for the Pioneers with their offensive drive. Gaze to Chahal. Just beyond the half-court line. Chahal has got Simon Kavicius out wide to his right. Elects to play around at the top of the key, and from mid-range, sinks it in for 2. Well done, Chahal. That's the way to respond.
Chahal now up to 10 points for the game. Driving here is Shelley. Kicks off to Pasava. Pasava drains the 3.
Well, they needed that.
They did indeed. 50-40, 10 points the margin in favour of Melbourne. 66 seconds left until the half. McDonald, Chahal, long range here for Taj. He can't drain it. Good work by Back. Ball back did really well there. Grabbed the O board. Had it tipped out of his hands there in the end by, I believe, Nick Marshall. And it's going to be in the hands of Melbourne here, Damo.
And he was outnumbered in that situation and probably didn't have the height advantage either, it's fair to say. So just good endeavour once again. That's certainly exemplified the Tigers' efforts throughout the entirety of the match thus far. 50-40 at the present time. So Chahal the beneficiary.
Simikovic at the 45 here for Melbourne. To McDonald. McDonald top of the key. Bounce pass is good in the post here for Gaze. Gaze drives. Had a bit of contact. Good awareness there by the official. Nick Marshall commits the foul. He's 2nd personal. He thought he could get away with that too, Nick Marshall. He knew straight away when the whistle went. He's like, damn, I got caught.
Just get the sense from his body language, a little bit of frustration creeping in for him, and he's now going to have a spell on the bench. I think just to regain composure. He's replaced by his brother Dylan.
So Mason Gates to the line for 2. Melbourne in the bonus for the remainder of this second quarter. Mason misses on the first. And again, similar to the Pioneers women and even the men, Mason as well, just how much fatigue or how much is left in the body for Mason after playing so hard last night in the Big V competition for the Melbourne Tigers. We'll find out after half-time. He misses on the second. DeWitt to Dylan. Marshall Miko himself did well there, Dylan Marshall. Oh, well done by McDonald. Hustled hard, travel called, and it's going to stay with Mount Gambier. So that would be a travel call there on McDonald. He's not too happy with the decision by the official.
Dylan Marshall's got a wry smile on his face. Good to see he's
Got
enjoying the
gel
levity.
there.
Good to see he's enjoying the levity of the situation as well. He did say, Tomo, there's been a bit of feeling between these two sides. Certainly we've heard a bit of verbaling where we are. It doesn't surprise me at all. There's a lot on the line here from an emotive point of view. Tigers celebrating the 30-year anniversary of their 1993 championship winning side. Pioneers off the back of their 1-point loss looking to atone from last night.
In the hands now of Chris Sealy, I should say, to DeWitt. DeWitt got a couple to contend with, and Kane DeWitt draws his foul. He's going to go line for the extras.
What about your thoughts on Kane DeWitt in general as a skipper? Probably hasn't been omnipresent on the floor so far. He's sort of a player that initiates the attack in the early stages, doesn't often finish off, at least so far today.
Gets the first to go down, but you're right, Damo. I mean, he was a bit quiet last night for mine. 3 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists against Geelong United. He hasn't had that much of a spark, I think, this season compared to previous seasons in the Pioneers colours. That's just my sort of understanding, my takeaways from his season so far. But again, it's early on in the season, so Kane DeWitt can easily turn his season around if he needs to.
Not 2 from 2 there. Chahal confronted by DeWitt. Simon-Kavicius back. Pardon the pun. Simon-Kavicius.
Love that from you, Damo.
Confronted by Marshall. It'll be a Tigers ball to be received by Gaze. 18 points to his name thus far. We're not even at half-time. We're not far away, though, from that buzzer. 12 seconds remaining. Tigers holding an 8-point advantage. Gaze from the sideline. Concedes some ground. McDonald drives back to Gaze. Mid-range from the elbow. Looks for 2. Can't quite find it. The putback almost provided by McDonald. He's confronted by Sealy. And 2 shots with the contact enforced for the Tigers. And McDonald will be the recipient. So Callum McDonald, already seen him produce the goods from the foul line so far in this quarter, has another opportunity on the cusp of half-time here.
Sealy's second personal foul too, by the way, Damo.
McDonald successful. The first shot, can he make it 2 from 2? 1.4 seconds to the half. Every point is crucial at this point. Well, it was almost an air ball. Simon-Kavicius, though, responds, puts it back in for 2. Well, that was almost an orchestrated 3-point play on the half.
I wonder if McDonald and Simon-Kavicius had a conversation before the free throws said, like, make sure that second ball is no good. I'll pick it up. I'll put the floater in at half-time as the buzzer goes. But, geez, that was an incredible 3-point play there from both McDonald at the 1 and then Simon-Kavicius with the 2.
But again, that highlights, I think, the stagnation of Mount Gambier in defence. Just too many easy opportunities there. I know there was only, a second to go in the half, but they probably thought, well, it's going to come down to this last shot.
Exactly.
This second attempt, and Simon-Kavicius just caught them napping. 53-42 at the half in favour of the Tigers. That belies the form of these two sides so far this year.
It does indeed, and we'll take a break here at the half. Melbourne lead by 11 on the 30th anniversary of the 1993 NBL Championship winning Tigers outfit. This generation of Tigers lead by 11, 53-42. Welcome back to NBL1's action here, round number 5, Sunday afternoon hoops. Melbourne leading this one by 11 points. And Damo, you and I just watched a good little montage and a good little tribute to the 1993 NBL Championship winning side. And it looked really good, actually, seeing all the old boys together last night at a little function to celebrate 30 years.
Oh, sensational. I mean, great names, obviously. Warwick Giddy, Andrew Gaze, Ray Gordon, Dave Simmons, Leonard Copeland.
The list goes on.
Amazing, and really catapulted basketball to one of the top sports in this country.
Yeah.
I know it's gone through its ups and downs, but it's going through an up again. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. There's more ups and downs as the second half recommences here at the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre. It's going to be Mount Gambier to start things off. Through Sealy, he's not going to get that ball though. Good work there by Chahal. Chahal's away. Did really well. Caught Shelley napping there a little bit. So Chahal going to hand it off to Gaze. Wern back to Gaze. Gaze going to drive inside, try to find McDonald. He's turned that ball over. Nick Marshall hands it off now to Pasava. Pasava for 3. He can't drain that one. Sealy did really well with the O board. And it's going to be a Melbourne ball.
Well, he was very integral to Mount Gambier in that first half, Chris Sealy, just creating opportunities. Wasn't efficient early. There's a tech foul called here.
Richard Hill. It's going to be a shot for the Tigers, so...
Wow.
Geez. So Richard Hill losing his temper in the first 35 seconds of this third quarter. And
it's not a good sign if it's coming from the coaching.
No, exactly.
Well, can Purchase capitalise? Yes.
And possession back now for the Tigers too, Damo.
That's right. So, still that 12-point buffer. The query is whether Melbourne can sustain their intensity and their efficiency. Fitness is going to be a key as the game progresses on the floor. Purchase to Chahal. Now Gaze. Top of the key. Wern. Bounce pass. McDonald. Look away pass towards Gaze in the right corner. Purchase. Back to Wern where we started at the top of the key. It's confronted there. Out wide to the left, Chahal just falling short, but the put back in underneath the basket was brilliant from McDonald. And the Melbourne Tigers increase their lead.
Tigers lead by 14, 56-42. Ball in the hands now, Julian Pasava. Sealy, Marshall. He's got to stand up in the second half. Here's Pasava for 3. He can't drain that one. They'll get the ball back though through Shelley. Shelley. Being eyed off by there by Chahal. Long ball's good. In the hands of DeWitt. Travel called on the captain of Mount Gambier.
And he's just shaking the head. Just not increasing in confidence, is he?
No. And again, we talked about this in the second quarter, Damo. Kane DeWitt hasn't really had that much of an impact on this Mount Gambier side so far in 2023. I don't know if it's form, don't know if it's motivation, but he just needs to find a purple patch of form to get himself back into it.
I think it's confidence. The endeavour's there. It's just the confidence side of things more than anything else.
Wern, long range 3 is no good. Here's DeWitt now with the rebound. Hands it off to Marshall. Marshall. All hands in. Can he get the floater? Swat beautifully there by Purchase. Purchase with a nice block. Gaze back to Purchase. The finish off. The good work he did early in the backcourt. And he does. Margin of 17.
I get the sense Nick Marshall not necessarily full of confidence either at the moment. And the defensive pressure from the Tigers sublime. DeWitt. Now Nick Marshall. Can he find a path through? Going backwards to go forwards at the moment. Shelley surpasses the 45 and drives through. Mid-range. Back it comes. Pasava. Now a big chance for 3. It's an air ball from Shelley. And Gaze capitalises in the back court. Purchase. Now at the 45, Chahal works inboard, mid-range 2, yes! Continuing his good form, Taj Chahal.
Chahal now up to 12 points for the game. Ball in the hands of Marshall. Marshall at the 45, finds Pasava, outside the key, that's exactly what they needed. Julian Pasava with a 3.
There's a margin back to 16 points. Wern combining with Chahal, now at the 45, Purchase. Haven't relied on him as much, which is probably a good sign for the Melbourne Tigers. Call against DeWitt, I think, who's absolutely flabbergasted. Making contact with Gaze. And the Tigers can capitalise again here.
Will Mayfield on the floor now for the Pioneers. Shelley coming off.
They've just got to inject some spirit here to this Pioneers lineup. So it'll be Gaze from the foul line.
And again, can Mayfield maybe be something that the Pioneers can look to for a bit of confidence to get themselves back into this game, Damo?
Gaze converts the first. He's up to 19 points for the match. He's been a real fire starter for this lineup today. Can he make it 2 from 2? Yes, he can. Sinks it in. And he's up to 20 points for the match. And DeWitt can try and repel and find a spark here. Mayfield, top of the key. DeWitt on the 45, looks inboard. Marshall, can he find something? Yes, he can. Nick Marshall. Over 30 points last night. Needs to lift here. And he goes some way to doing that with 2 there.
Brilliant work there by Nick Marshall. Purchase now at the 45. Gaze. Inside for Chahal. Chahal did really well. Kicks off to Wern at the 45. Wern can't hit the 3. O-board's good though for Chahal. Chahal's going to go himself for 3. He drains that one quite convincingly. Margin at 19 points. And Mount Gambier have a bit of problems now.
It was just outside the 3-point line for Chahal, but it's good enough. Nick Marshall to his left from the 45. Shelley combining with Mayfield. Quick pass from DeWitt. Nick Marshall, who started the play, was infringed upon potentially. And there was certainly contact, personal foul. That's a 3rd personal foul, just to be precise, on Gaze. So it'll be Nick Marshall, the recipient, from the 45. Again, the verbaling continues.
Good to see Mason and Andrew having a bit of a smile about it too.
Nick Marshall inboard to the top of the 45 to Witt, the Mount Gambier skipper. Nick Marshall with the old 1-2 again. The referee getting involved. Must have been behind the play.
I think so. And it's on McDonald, so that's McDonald's second foul.
That was well off the play. So Nick Marshall can be the recipient.
You said, Damo, just a bit of filling in this game now.
That's right. Marshall, top of the key. DeWitt receiving from Sealy. Back to Nick Marshall. He's confronted by 2 Tigers. Finds a path through. Sees daylight to Mayfield. Couldn't quite register. Sealy, there was contact.
2 shots for free throw for the Pioneers.
So I just wonder whether Mount Gambier have looked to increasingly tighten up in defence. They certainly needed to after that first half. Mayfield from the foul line has a chance to convert here and whittle down the deficit. And he needs to lift.
And that's McDonald's 3rd foul too, so he's going to be very careful alongside Mason Gaze.
So a 2nd attempt here. Yeah, you're right. Not too many chances left. Mayfield, who was pretty decent last night, unable to convert their purchase with a defensive rebound, and now Chahal can forge a foray into attack for the Tigers.
Here's Chahal. Chahal the 45 here for the Tigers. Inside, or outside I should say for Wern. Inside now for McDonald. Purchase. Might go himself. The floater. Is it good for Purchase? It is. Found some good real estate on that 2-pointer. And the margin is now 21 points. As we see Kane DeWitt for Nick Marshall. Siminkevich is about to check back in for the Tigers shortly. Sealy, DeWitt, quick pass in here. Mayfield, long range sweep here for Will Mayfield. He misses, and the ball's in the hands of Callum McDonald's.
Mayfield, of course, a former Canberra Gunners player in the nation's capital. Chahal for 3. Synced a couple of those so far today, certainly early on. Mayfield, speak of the devil, defensive rebound. Off to DeWitt. Nick Marshall needs to lift his game. From the 45, he drives inboard against Gaze. Against 3 Tigers, he finds a path through and sinks 2 in for the Pioneers. They needed that one.
They did indeed. They now trail by 19 to Mount Gambier. Melbourne, though, with all the momentum going their way. Gaze, Purchase. Inside for Wern, maybe. No, ball turned over. Well done by Pasava. Read that one like a book. He might try and go coast to coast. He decided to go to Sealy. Sealy off to Mayfield.
Oh.
He turned that ball over. He tried to find Marshall, and Mason Gaze was in the right place at the right time. But good work there from Nick Marshall. Pickpocketed that ball easily off Mason Gaze. DeWitt, Sealy, mid-range shot here. No good in the end. Stays with Mount Gambier. Mayfield, Sealy, Pasava here for the Pioneers. Kicks it back to DeWitt. DeWitt outside for 3. He misses as well. But ball goes out. Oh, sorry, foul is called. My apologies. And it's been called Michael Wern.
Yeah. Fairness to you, it was a late call from the referee.
Yeah, it was. So Wern up to his 2nd personal foul of the game. Siminkevich is back on the floor. He'll check in for Mason Gaze.
He'll provide and inject some fresh legs. There's no doubt about that. Very speedy player across the floor.
Ball in the hands now of Austin Shelley. Shelley going to hand it off to Sealy. Short ball's good here for Marshall. Marshall going to try and drive. Tried very hard there. Can he get it to go in? He can't. Well done again by Jack Purchase and the Tigers. They're away here.
Certainly working hard, Nick Marshall, in this third. You feel he's expending a lot of energy. So a chance now. Wern. Oh, how about that with the reverse? Sensational play for two. And the margin is now out to 21 points. All of a sudden, it's getting a bit ugly for the Pioneers. There's still time, of course. Dylan Marshall now combines with Sealy. Leading scorer on the floor for Mount Gambier with 16 points to his name. Here's Shelley. Approaching the 45, confronted by Chahal. Inbound Sealy. Now Nick Marshall for three. There's the team lifter for the Pioneers.
Nick Marshall needed that three-pointer. I think Damo just to get a bit of confidence back into his game. He's up to 12 now for the game. It's Nick Marshall. Siminkeviches finds McDonald. Did really well there. Purchase, long-range three. How good was that? McDonald threw the ball straight into Sealy. It ricocheted back into the hands of Purchase, and Purchase gets the three from the 45. What can the Pioneers do here through Dylan Marshall? His ball was short, and it's in the hands of Purchase, and away go the Tigers again through Michael Wern.
Well, Purchase had 26 points last week. He's up to 17 already. Bounce pass from Wern. Combines well, and he gets it back with the 1-2 and sinks it for three, and he pumps the biceps out.
24 points, the margin now in favour of Melbourne. 2 minutes 20 left in this third quarter. And unfortunately, it's going to go on Michael Wern, that call. Wern did everything right there, I thought. But unfortunately, I think he might have accidentally maybe taken a step too much.
Yeah.
And unfortunately couldn't hold himself that much for the offensive foul to be called his way.
Well,
so the foul's been called on Michael Wern. He's up to 3 personal for the game.
I think it was there. Andrew Gaze usually looks incredulous if it's a bad call against his team. I think he knew that the fact that he wasn't incredulous means he knew that was a fair call from the referee.
Yep. But I think it was a good attempt, though, by Michael Wern to at least try and get the offensive foul going the way of the Tigers because of the momentum they had going their way.
Chance for Shelley from the foul line. Converts the first. They've got a long deficit to make up, the Pioneers. They have to do what the Melbourne Tigers did back in 1993 against the South East Melbourne Magic. 2 from 2. Well done from Austin Shelley. Previously played for the Knox Raiders here in Victoria. Outer eastern suburbs of Melbourne, of course.
Good stadium out there too, by the way.
Yeah, State Basketball Centre. We'll see a lot of basketball out there with the redevelopment in that facility. Siminkeviches, Purchase, look away to Von Hoff. Back to Chahal on the 45, outside for three. Unable to be put back in there by Timmins. And as a result, they come away here, Mount Gambier. Dylan Marshall, confronted by Purchase. Great drive down the floor for three. Purchase, yes! The Roar tells the story.
Well done there by Jack Purchase. A lot of real estate on that three. Makes it a 25-point advantage now in favour of Melbourne. Siminkeviches off to Chahal. Momentum with the Tigers. Taj is going to hand it off now to Von Hoff. He hands it to Purchase. Purchase, Chahal. Koshak's going to get that ball to Siminkeviches. Kicks it off to Von Hoff in the corner for three. Von Hoff can't drain it. And away goes Dylan Marshall for the Pioneers. And away they go through Will Mayfield. Mayfield, Shelley. 59 seconds left in this third quarter. Sealy, Nick Marshall. Bit of contact there from Siminkeviches.
Fair call from the referee as well. And I think Siminkeviches recognised that too.
Yeah. It was accidental. We knew that. But unfortunately, if it gets called, it gets called, you know.
Well, Nick Marshall, just the 12 points for the game thus far. Of course, scored over 30 last night against Geelong. He has the chance from the foul line here, and this could be a good platform for the Pioneers to work from. It's
been good, though. Tigers have been able to find a way to shut him down this afternoon.
There's no doubt the defence has been integral to their lead of 25 at the present time. They'll be back to 24 now. Marshall sinks the first attempt into the basket.
You can hear Candewitt on the bench saying, "You got this, Nick."
Just needs to increase in confidence. I think he has improved certainly in this third quarter. Marshall makes it 2 from 2. Increases his output. So a couple of changes with Nick Marshall having a bit of a spell on the bench. Dylan Marshall onto the floor now for the Pioneers. 55 seconds left. Purchase with possession.
I think it's good too for Nick Marshall just to get a couple more points, just to tick it over in this third quarter. Here's Chahal now for the Tigers. Simikavicius finds Von Hoff. Purchase in for Simikavicius through the back door. Well done by Remo Simikavicius.
Sensational play. DeWitt, 36 seconds remaining. Can the Pioneers respond? Dylan Marshall drives amidst a sea of Tigers. Off the board. Well done from Purchase with a defensive rebound. And now on the counter-attack, a chance for the Tigers. Von Hoff in the left corner for 3. Unsuccessful. Chahal tried the rebound. Simikavicius amidst 3 Pioneers. Travel called.
18 seconds left on the clock.
So on the cusp of three-quarter time. We'll see if there's any more twists in the tail for this third quarter. It's 81-56 in favour of the Melbourne Tigers.
The last 18 seconds of this third quarter. Shelley up the floor here for the Pioneers. 10 seconds left. So Mount Gambier will have final possession of this third quarter. Shelley at the 45 here for Mount Gambier. Kicks it off to Will Mayfield in the corner. It's no good for him. And Melbourne go into the final term with a 25-point advantage, Damien Watson.
81-56 is a score line. It's looking fruitful. It has looked fruitful for the entire game for the Melbourne Tigers, channeling the spirit of the players of old from 1993 as we celebrate the 30-year anniversary of their title. We should mention, speaking of coming from behind, the Melbourne Tigers of 1993 did that famously in a match against the South East Melbourne Phoenix with a similar deficit at a similar time. The Pioneers have to try and replicate that here. And we've got to understand the gravity of this achievement so far for the Tigers, because Mount Gambier were undefeated coming into last night. They got pipped at the post by a point against Geelong, which can happen. But we have not seen them thoroughly outplayed in the manner in which we've seen them today this season so far.
Yeah, you're right. This is the first time this season I've seen Mount Gambier completely outplayed. And again, I put it back to you what we chatted about earlier this morning. Jacob Lampkin not being in the side this afternoon makes a massive difference, because he normally combines alongside Nick Marshall to put a lot of their points up on the board. But no Jacob Lampkin this afternoon. It's a real tall order for the likes of Sealy to step up, which he's done well. Pasava stepped up well, and of course Will Mayfield, who had a really good second quarter, but unfortunately hasn't been able to really get himself going in that third quarter.
Do you think they put too many eggs in the Nick Marshall basket with that absence that you mentioned? As a result, they don't have enough. I suppose you have Sealy, who's stepped up to the plate. But do you think they need greater depth? I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those days where they've been outplayed. Yeah,
they have been outplayed. I think Will Mayfield probably hasn't been able to have that third quarter similar to what second quarter I thought was really good from Will Mayfield. He hasn't been able to sort of light it up in that third quarter. He's been outplayed quite a bit from your likes of like Chahal's done well, Purchase has done well to really shut him down a bit too in that third quarter. And for Will Mayfield, he looks a bit frustrated just from the body language on the bench a little bit too. He knows that he wants to step up in this fourth quarter, but again, what the Tigers have been able to do is just been able to shut him down defensively, and it's really shaken the core of the foundation of the Pioneers this afternoon here, Damo.
Richard Hill very animated on the sideline as he addresses his troops at Mount Gambier. He, of course, led the Pioneers to 3 national championships since joining the team in 2012. And, of course, they're looking to atone for last year's runner-up result in the NBL1 South competition. Yeah, they lost to Hobart in that really good grand final where Sam McDaniel had 30-13 to get the MVP award for the Hobart Chargers. That's right. I think atonement is firmly on their minds, but they have to atone for their match so far. They trail by 25 points. Start of the last quarter from the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre. Tomo, you can kick us off, and I think kicking it off on the floor is Felix Von Hoff. Felix Von Hoff now going to inbound here to start the fourth quarter. 25 points the margin. Koshak back over now to Von Hoff. Von Hoff to Simikavicius. Chahal back over to Bo Koshak. Simikavicius going to bounce pass for Bo. It's good. He'll hand it back over to Purchase. Purchase, long-range three to try and start the fourth quarter. Simikavicius was pushed out of there.
And he's drawn his foul as Remo Simikovicius, who's had a really good game, in my personal opinion, today, Damo.
He hasn't had the maximum amount of minutes, but I tell you what, when he's been on the floor, he's injected a lot of speed and certainly a lot of energy around the floor. And Bo Koshak as well getting more of a go. I haven't seen much of him so far in the game, but he's been good so far.
Here's Koshak over now to Simikovicius. Purchase in the post. He got pickpocketed there by Marshall. DeWitt back to Marshall. Marshall up the floor here for the Pioneers. Marshall, long range two, no good. Short hits the rim, and away go to Tigers through Chahal.
Chahal, who was probably the fire starter for the Melbourne Tigers early when the game was on the line. Still technically is, of course. Simikovicius receiving from Purchase. Koshak back to Chahal. Traversing around the top of the key. Out to the left, Koshak. Long range two, unsuccessful. Defensive rebound from Mayfield, and now DeWitt, the skipper, can try and ignite something for the Pioneers. Mayfield, look away pass. Sealy, he's been brilliant all day. Unable to score the three there. The defensive rebound from Purchase is good. He's covered a lot of territory on the floor today.
He has indeed. Purchase hands it off now to Von Hoff. Wants Koshak to be used as more of a bit of a screen now, or move him into position, which he's done well there. He kicks it off now to Chahal. Chahal for three. He can't drain that one. And a bit of contact. So we'll find out shortly who that is on. And that was on Bo Koshak. So a bit of late contact, I think, from the offload pass there to Chahal. Good pick up there from the official. And it'll be a Mount Gambier ball with 8 minutes 40 left in the fourth.
Sealy combining with Shelley. Canters down the court. Chahal on his hammer. To the 45 he goes. Top of the key. Mayfield drives. Finding a spark. And he sinks it in for two. And it looks like there was contact drawn as well, so we'll get one opportunity from the foul line. But Mayfield, we spoke of him needing to lift after half-time, and I think he, to a certain extent, has. And he certainly tried hard there.
He has. Felix, so just addressing the troops a little bit in that small little huddle before being subbed out, as Warren and Gaze come back on the floor.
Mayfield from the foul line completes the three-point play. So the deficit decreases now. 81-59 on the scoreboard here. Wern, now Mason Gage back on the floor on the 45. Looks inbound to Purchase.
Purchase over to Wern. Wern. Simikovicius. Whistle's called. And it's going to be called on Will Mayfield. So Mayfield, again, just a bit of niggle off the ball here, Damo. And Melbourne will get this foul, and they'll be able to inbound here.
Just going to say, it seems like we've seen that a couple of times so far today, such as a feeling between these two sides.
Absolutely. Simikovicius over to Wern. Wern has to deal with Marshall. We're going to use Koshak a little bit as a screen. Might do so successfully. Bounces off Marshall. Long range two. Can it be good to go in? No, it isn't. Here's DeWitt. DeWitt away now for the Pioneers. Kicks off to Marshall. Marshall for three. He can't drain that one. And that is normally Marshall's bread and butter there, Damo.
No doubt about that. 37 points last night against Geelong. Hasn't been as fruitful for him today. Simikovicius back to Purchase on the 45. Left side. Very good last week, as we spoke about. Bounce past to Gaze. Unsuccessful, but did draw the contact at the end, so he'll have an opportunity from the foul line for a couple to add to his tally, which is currently at 20. Well, where does this stand, I think, in regards to confidence, but also the family connection as well, to see his entire family here to perform on the home stage against the top of the table side. This must rank very high in his career so far. Gaze from the foul line. Unable to convert first opportunity.
Plus, he's had a really big weekend too. 28-10 big V last night for the Melbourne Tigers in that win against the Miners.
Confidence is an amazing thing. And he gets the second. It's up to 21 points for the game. And the margin now out to 23 with 7.5 remaining at the Melbourne Sports and Aquatics Centre.
So Gaze at 21, Purchase at 20. Ball in the hands now of the Pioneers. Basava, DeWitt, Shelley for three. He misses. McDonald did really well there. Held his ground. Basava came at him very fast. And it's now in the hands of Wern. Wern at the 45. Bounce pass for Simikovicius. It's going to stay with Melbourne. Again, Simikovicius hasn't done much in the points department, but his just impact on the floor has been absolutely noticeable in this one. Purchase.
Like a terrier.
Absolutely. McDonald's, can he get going? Hands it off now. Gaze, Purchase. 6 on the shot clock here for Melbourne. They're going to strike now for 3 from Purchase. He misses. McDonald did well. And the contact was on Callum McDonald. And he's been tech for that one.
Yeah. Andrew Gaze isn't happy with the tech foul, one of his charges. McDonald, he can provide a wry smile, but you just can't do that to the referee.
No. And McDonald now up to 4. No, actually he's out because he got the original foul and then the tech foul on top of that.
Yeah.
So Callum McDonald is now out of this one for the remainder of this game. And that's just disappointing too, because McDonald's been pretty good in patches this afternoon. It's just unfortunate that, you know, throwing your hands up in the end, waving them around and
throwing expletives around as well.
causing a minor scene. Just, you can't do that in this sport.
It was just in the heat of them. I'm not trying to defend him, but it was in the heat of the moment. Right call, of course, from the referee. You can't have that on the court.
And I love that Gazy's still going with Bo Koshak instead of Simon Bradbury. So he wants a bit more speed because he knows how fast the Pioneers can go off the board if need be.
And you can't rest on your laurels against the side of the calibre of the Pioneers, can you? Even with 7 minutes remaining, you're up by over 20 points. You can't just go back into your shell. You've got to keep the momentum going.
Like, they are a literally dangerous team to be playing again week in, week out. That's why they are one of the best sides in the men's competition. Sealy trying to go. He tried to go for the 1-2 himself. He missed on that opportunity. But it's going to stay with Mount Gambier.
16 points to Sealy. He's been sensational today for the Pioneers, almost playing a lone hand.
Shelley hits the backboard. Gaze away. Gaze might go himself at this point in time. Stops himself a little bit. Purchase. Back to Gaze. Gaze at the 45. Has the wit on his tail. Bounce pass is good for Koshak. Over and out to Purchase. Gaze got bumped out of there beautifully there by Will Mayfield. Like a hip and shoulder tackle in the AFL style there from Will Mayfield. Here's Shelley. He drains the 2. Cuts it back now to 20 points.
Saw a clip of Dave Simmons before. Ben Simmons utilises the hip and shoulder sometimes on the NBA court, doesn't he?
Like father, like son.
Former Aussie rules player himself, of course, in Melbourne before he really focused on basketball. So Purchase goes to the top of the key. Koshak out wide to his left on the 45. Simikavicius. Gaze for 3. Yes! A fairy tale day summed up with a 3 from Gaze. And that could be almost the clincher. Mayfield to his left finds his skipper DeWitt. Top of the key, driving well there is Shelley. And a good response with 2 points to his name. 85-64, Simikavicius. Back to Wern in the defensive zone for the Tigers, but they lead by 21.
Ball in the hands of Wern. Simikavicius. Purchase. Inside for Wern. Bit of space there for Michael Wern. You can't keep him open like that for too long. He'll make you pay, and he does inside the pine.
Happened a couple of times today where he's just been left alone under the basket.
So let's see Van Riesen on for his first minutes of the game too, very, very shortly. Ball in the hands of DeWitt. DeWitt did really well there.
Yeah, needs to insert his imprimatur, the skipper, and he did so there. So Wern, deep in defence for the Tigers. Simikavicius out towards the 45. Purchase. He's got Wern to his right, opts to go to the top of the key. Koshak back to Simikavicius on the 45 to the left. Now Purchase inboard to Wern. This time he has Sealy to contend with, but he goes with the fade away. Can't quite convert. And now on the counter-attack, Shelley for the Pioneers. Drives inboard. Look away pass to Mayfield. 6 at him for 2.
Mayfield up to 14 points for the game. About to see Harry Mules on for his first minutes very shortly too for the Pioneers standpoints. Margin at 19, 4.5 left. Melbourne just probably need to keep it at this position. If you can keep it at this wavelength around 19 and 21 points, put more pressure on the Pioneers.
They'll be home.
Yep. Because the Pioneers, we know, can score in a quick flurry if they need to here, Damo.
That's exactly right. They're the one team in the NBL1 South competition.
You don't want it, no.
You can't be complacent.
Exactly. Because when they catch you napping, the Pioneers, they're very hard to stop as Gaze drains the first. Not gonna lie, this is actually going to be a famous day for Tigers from an NBL1 South perspective. If they can get a win here in the men's to complete the double. Gaze did well, got 2 from 2 there. DeWitt in the hands of Mayfield. Mayfield for 3. He misses. DeWitt gets the O board. Kicks it off. Finds Pasava. Pasava through traffic did well. And gets the 2 points. Margin at 19, 89-70.
Mason Gaze currently with 26 points. Been the difference. 19 points the margin. Wern at the 45. Drives inboard. Finds the option there. Van Rygen, who's come onto the court for the first time. First minutes for him. Gaze for 3 from the 45. Unable to be successful. DeWitt with the defensive rebound. Streaks away with speed and dash to Mayfield. Very good coast-to-coast transition for the Pioneers as Mayfield sinks it in for 2. Went under the basket. Kept up with his skipper. We said they needed those 2 to lift the Pioneers if they were going to have any chance in this game. And they have done so with that transition.
Bradbury on for his first minutes of the afternoon too, so Gazy's happy to go with his bench for the last 3 and a bit minutes.
Why not? Give them all a chance to enjoy this spectacle.
Enjoy this moment together.
Yeah, exactly right. Wern receiving from Purchase. The old 1-2, back to Purchase on the 45. Caressed back by Pasava. Pasava lost his footing, probably twisted his ankle almost in the process. Purchase can capitalise. There's contact drawn. Bradbury asking the question as well, and Mayfield's having a few words to the referee.
Yeah, Pasava went straight for that ankle, as you said, Damo. I think we're just testing it out to see if it's okay. Looks like he's in a little bit of discomfort there, Julian Pasava.
He might have to come off the court here.
Yeah. Don't want to aggravate it even more, so I think Pasava's going to come out and Shelley will come back in.
Yeah, he slinks off at the moment.
Yeah.
And Shelley does come back in. So in the meantime, because the contact was drawn, as we said, Purchase will have a shot from the line. Over 3 minutes remaining still, but the Tigers with a handy buffer. It'll be difficult for the Pioneers to rein this one back in. Jack Purchase has been an attacking stalwart this season. Converts the first from the line. Scored 26 points last week, of course.
You'd also say Pasava's day will probably be finished as well for the afternoon, you say, Damo?
Yeah, I think so. There's no point with 3 minutes remaining, risking him even further.
When you're 18 down as well.
Yeah, exactly right. Purchase, 2 from 2. And he's now up to 22 points. He had 26 last week, as I said. And I wonder if he can match that effort today. He's still got 3 minutes to do it. The Tigers lead 91-72. DeWitt with possession for the Pioneers.
DeWitt over to Mayfield. Mayfield drives. And and hopefully he's okay. He is.
Collided with the advertising board, I think.
Yep. Those advertising boards always get a bit of a workout, that's for sure. And that foul's going to be called on Bradbury.
Well, remember Dennis Rodman one time collided with the photographers. They used to sit
That's
underneath
right.
the basket, and he kicked the photographer, and as a result, the photographer sued Rodman for over $1 million back in the mid-90s.
I remember that.
The NBA.
Chance here for Mayfield. Misses on the first. And you can hear the delight of the fans here at MSAC Damo. Mayfield, 16 points for him. He's been serviceable in this last quarter, I believe, Will Mayfield. He drains the seconds, up to 17 now for the game. But Melbourne are going to soak in his final 3 minutes, Damien Watson.
Bradbury, Chahal, they combine well back, and now Gaze, the 45. Bradbury at the top of the key, and now a chance from long range for 3 from Van Ridgen. Couldn't quite. Now on the counter-attack, Mayfield. Big chance for Mules. Tried to go for the 3, unsuccessful. Gaze finds Chahal in open territory on the 45 left side. He's got a chance for 3, unimpeded. Off the backboard, and DeWitt with a defensive rebound. Transfers again. Gives it off. Dylan Marshall still enjoyed the festivities. Gets it back. Long range free from Dylan Marshall. Off the rim. Mayfield with a good rebound, and he combines with Mules, who couldn't quite convert. Providing some fresh legs coming off the bench, but he was unsuccessful there. Chahal with possession for the Tigers.
Chahal over to Gaze. It's a ball back. Bradbury. Van Rygen. Long range here for Van Rygen. Can he get it in? He can't. Bradbury taps it in, though.
Nonchalant.
Absolutely. Mason Gaze is done for the day. And Timmins comes on for his first minutes of the afternoon, Damo. So Mason Gaze, 28 and 10 last night for the Big V side. 26 points this afternoon for the NBL1 South side. What a weekend it's been for the Gazers. The ball goes in for Dylan Marshall. And Marshall will go for the extra here.
Well, Dylan Marshall, more diminutive compared to his brother, of course, but we love his endeavour. Certainly the Pioneers fans do as well. He's got a chance from the line here to just make the scoreboard a bit more respectable.
Which he does. 17 points the margin, 93 to 76 with 1:43 left here in the fourth.
Bradbury combines with Jahal, who only just held on to it. He certainly found pressure from Toby DeWitt, who's been given some minutes late on the court, coming onto the floor for the first time. Pass coming to Bradbury, Jahal from the 45, back from underneath the basket, coming out of the hole effectively. But the referee steps in. It's going to be a Pioneers ball from their defensive zone to be taken by Zach Nolte, who's also been given minutes for the first time. In fact, it's going to come back to Mayfield, but you'd suspect he combined with Nolte here, and he does. So Zach Nolte combines there with Dylan Marshall. Mayfield confronted by 3 Tigers. Here's a chance now for Zach Nolte off the backboard. Bradbury combining with Jahal on the 45. Transfers play. Back from the long range 2. No, he's going to go for Bradbury, and now for 3 points unsuccessful there coming from Van Rygen. On the counter attack, big chance for Toby DeWitt for his first points unsuccessful again. And Van Rygen with a defensive rebound to back.
He's back at the 45. Bounce pass is good here for Timmins. Can he get it in? He can. Jordan Timmins gets his first points of the afternoon. Margin at 19. Here's Dylan Marshall. Marshall tries to go inside. Kicks it off now to Nolte. Nolte for 3. He misses. Bumped off there. Mayfield might try and salvage something. He can't. And it's with the Tigers through Jahal.
30 seconds remaining. They're soaking it up at the moment, the Melbourne Tigers. Jahal for 3. He started the day with a free, and he ends the day with a free.
24 seconds left.
Well, that's just poetic in the end. 98 to 76 with 24 seconds remaining.
The bench is up for Melbourne too, so once that buzzer goes, Damo, it's going to be euphoria here at MSAC.
Well, they've knocked off the top of the table, Mount Gambier Pioneers, in convincing fashion as well. Bradbury joining the party, and now back, can cruise through, looking for the dunk. Instead, he has a chance to rebound his own ball, hands it off to Jahal for another 2. He increases the scoring rate, and the Tigers hit the 100.
And that's it. Melbourne with a big win to celebrate 30 years since their inaugural NBL championship winning sides. They have dominated from start to finish. 100 to 76 at MSAC. And Tigers are going back-to-back wins here in season 2023. Their 4th win of the season. So convincingly too in the end, Damo. And gee, that sends shockwaves through the rest of the competition, doesn't it?
2 straight losses for the Mount Gambier Pioneers. They went down to Geelong last night by a solitary point, but I don't think anyone could foresee the Melbourne Tigers, who were in 12th coming into this game, knocking off the top of the table Pioneers, who were undefeated coming into the weekend by 24 points. Not only as a result a surprise, but the manner in which it was taken out.
I was surprised that they were able to act. I knew that they were going to give it to Mount Gambier. I wasn't expecting Mount Gambier to fall on their sword so early in the match, and Melbourne to just blitz the competition, to blitz the game like they did in that first quarter.
No doubt, and they really did set the tone early, didn't they?
Yeah.
They established the advantage by about 20 points, and they effectively held it from there on in. The body language of the Pioneers, look, I think they dropped their heads a little bit late in the game, didn't they?
And this is what Melbourne should have done a couple of weeks ago against Nunawading when they were 26 points up halfway through the second quarter. They should have kept it at this margin. So I think they learned from that game, and they said, okay, we can't do that again. If we get to a big lead, we don't bottle under the pressure, and they played the full 40 minutes out twofold.
Mason Gaze with 26 points was the star. His family in attendance for the entirety of the day today. Lindsay in the stands, his grandfather, Andrew the coach. It'll be one of the more memorable days of that family's life. I would fashion to say there's been plenty of memories over the journey, but to have 3 generations involved and starring for the Melbourne Tigers in the manner in which they have against quality opposition, wow, that is absolutely brilliant from a gaze point of view.
It is indeed, and that wraps us up here for another big edition of the Coles Express NBL1 South here from MSAC. We're back next week. Melbourne have Knox here next week, and then Diamond Valley to complete the treble of home games here at MSAC. Damo, it's been a pleasure calling alongside you this afternoon.
Absolutely brilliant. Jack Purchase, I should mention, 22 points to his name after 26 last week. He was brilliant as well. Great spectacle, great history involved as well, and it was a day for the Melbourne Tigers.
It was indeed. On behalf of Damien Watson, I've been Michael Thompson. We're bidding you farewell. Melbourne get it done by 2 in the women's and 24 in the men's. They go 2-0 against the Pioneers. Pioneers go back-to-back losses on the road. Can they regroup next weekend? We'll find out. We'll be back here next Sunday for the game between Melbourne and Knox. Good night for now.